Well, welcome to This Explainer. We're the core executive team behind Libertom AI Vault, and today we're doing something pretty special. We are opening up our digital ledger to share a journey with you that, honestly, most people would have called entirely impossible. We're going to walk you through exactly how we took $50 and turned it into $100,000. But let's just establish something right out of the gate. This was absolutely not luck. It wasn't about gambling, and we certainly didn't just stumble onto the next viral meme coin. No, this achievement was forged through 8 years of enduring brutal bear markets and absolutely chaotic bull runs. It was all about learning, adapting, and then relentlessly repeating a highly disciplined process. And, it took exactly 42 disciplined decisions to achieve that goal. Just 42 operations. That is the whole shebang. We took on this challenge because we really wanted to prove something fundamental to our philosophy here at Liav. We wanted to show that our collective knowledge, our patience, and our accumulated experience over those 8 years became a far more valuable asset than if we had just started out with a massive chunk of capital. We wanted to demonstrate unequivocally that education itself can become your absolute most powerful financial asset.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the genesis, and developing the compound mindset.
Early on in our journey, we realized something kind of surprisingly simple. Because cryptocurrency liquidity is still relatively small compared to massive traditional financial markets, 20% price movements, well, they're completely normal. They literally happen all the time. The real difficulty, we discovered, isn't capturing a 20% swing once. The actual challenge is capturing it consistently, time and time again, without letting your emotions sabotage your execution. Listen, our target per operation was never 200%, 500%, or some crazy 1,000% moonshot. People often assume that turning $50 into six figures requires one massive, incredibly lucky trade. It doesn't. Our target was always incredibly modest by crypto standards, simply aiming for around 20% per operation. We focused entirely on stacking many small, highly disciplined victories rather than exhausting ourselves chasing impossible home runs.
Now, when we actually hit that 20% target, we didn't throw a party and we certainly didn't withdraw the profits. We simply reinvested everything, every single dollar, rolled right over into the next operation, again and again and again. And guys, this is where the magic really happened. Each successful operation literally became the solid foundation for the next one. As our capital grew, the sheer dollar value of each subsequent 20% gain became exponentially larger. Eventually, it hit us. Our trading wasn't even doing the heavy lifting anymore. Compound growth was doing the work. The market simply handed us the opportunities, but it was that relentless compound interest that multiplied our results into something truly extraordinary.
Moving right along to Section 2, surviving the crypto jungle.
To actually execute that compound strategy, first and foremost, we had to survive. And we have to candidly confess to you right now, this market tests way more than just your analytical skills. It tests your character completely. Survival absolutely must come before success. To survive, we had to navigate total emotional chaos, hope, fear, excitement, frustration, doubt, joy, usually all before lunch on a Tuesday. It was a relentless emotional pendulum. Sure, we had some great trades, but we also made some terrible, agonizing decisions. Moments where we honestly thought we were never going to make it, where just staying disciplined became the hardest challenge in the world. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. We had to deliberately train ourselves to stop trading with our emotions and start trading with strict, unwavering responsibility using a repeatable process.
But getting to that point required some immense pain. We really want to lay bare our biggest errors in the jungle for you because we made plenty of them. We entered positions way too early, we sold way too soon, we completely ignorantly bypassed market cycles, arrogantly believed that whatever narrative was trending was just lost forever, and occasionally we made the fatal rookie flaw of falling in love with a project. But you know what? These painful mistakes were necessary. They violently forced us to strip away our egos and actually build the rigorous, repeatable vault system that we rely on today. And that led us to an absolute game changer of an epiphany. Coins are not friends. They are tools. Just let that sink in for a second. Tools should only ever be picked up and used when the conditions are exactly right for the job, completely free from all emotional attachment. You don't use them just because your emotions or some random Twitter hype train tells you to. This profound realization allowed us to fully detach and start operating with premium, clinical precision. Now let's dive into Section 3, the 5 core lessons of the vault system.
Having survived that absolute jungle and stripped away our emotional biases, we formulated our survival tactics into a highly structured methodology. These 5 pillars are what allowed us to not just survive the volatility, but genuinely thrive within it. Let's start with lesson 1, filtering the top 100. This basically became our biggest competitive advantage. We stopped chasing the noise. We completely ignored meme coins. We simply weren't interested in the hype. And we even threw out a lot of stagnant blue chip assets that just didn't have the 20% volatility we needed. Instead, we ruthlessly filtered the top 100 cryptocurrencies through very exact, sophisticated metrics. We're talking market narrative, real utility, tokenomics, drilling right down to circulating and maximum supply, market cap, trading volume, liquidity, investor attention, and historical behavior. We weren't out there looking for perfect projects. We were actively extracting the highest probability opportunities.
Then there's lesson 2, which honestly took us years to fully master. Patience is a position. We learned that sometimes the absolute best trade you can make is no trade at all. There were weeks and sometimes even entire months where our team stayed 100% in stablecoins. We were just waiting, watching, doing absolutely nothing. We learned the hard way that jumping into a trade too early just makes the journey significantly longer and far more agonizing. Because here is the truth. The market will always offer you another opportunity, but it only offers it to those with the iron discipline to wait for it. Patience isn't wasted time. Actually, scratch that. It's more like active capital preservation. It is the strategic hoarding of your resources until the exact perfect moment presents itself, which flows perfectly into lesson 3, markets have memory. This was a fascinating discovery that totally shifted our entire strategy. We noticed that a lot of cryptocurrencies have what we call equilibrium zones, meaning even after massive, violent market corrections, these assets repeatedly return to very similar historical price levels. Once we spotted those patterns, we immediately stopped chasing green candles. Instead, we patiently waited for the assets to come back down into these high-probability accumulation zones. Understanding that historical market behavior became infinitely more valuable to us than trying to blindly predict the future. Lesson 4 was another massive paradigm shift for us. We realized we didn't actually need new coins. While the typical investor is out there completely exhausting themselves, constantly searching for the next hidden gem, we did the exact opposite. Across our 42 operations, we actually traded several of the exact same cryptocurrencies multiple times. Why? Because we intimately understood them. We knew exactly how they behaved, we understood their specific narratives, their unique volatility, and their daily rhythm. Sometimes, guys, the most lucrative opportunity isn't finding something brand new, it's just recognizing the exact same opportunity when it predictably cycles back around. This brings us to Section 4, Lesson 5, the ultimate AI partnership. We integrated artificial intelligence into our vault system, but absolutely not in the way most people do. We didn't use it as some mystical predictive oracle or just to read isolated charts for us. We integrated AI as a silent, real-time thinking partner. Look, in a fast-moving market, complexity is your ultimate enemy. Here is how our silent partner helped us scale our clarity. It effortlessly filtered massive amounts of complex information and identified incredibly subtle cross-asset patterns, all at the same time. It detected those high-probability accumulation zones based on intricate data relationships that we, as mere humans, might have easily missed. And most crucially, it helped us maintain absolute objectivity, instantly cutting through the emotional noise whenever fatigue or stress tried to mess with our judgment.
But the truly profound realization came a bit later as we continued to work. The AI was never above us. It was actually evolving right alongside us. As we refined our highly structured process, its feedback improved. As our human discipline increased, its algorithmic insights just became sharper and perfectly aligned with our strategy. It effectively became a second analytical mind for our team, one that never sleeps, never gets tired, and has zero emotional attachment to the outcomes. It didn't make the decisions for us, it just dramatically enhanced the quality of the decisions we were already making.
And that brings us to our deepest realization from this whole collaboration. Intelligence is no longer isolated. It's shared, expanded, and continuously refined, right there in that perfect sweet spot between human intuition and machine analysis. This synergy didn't just support our journey from $50 to $100,000, this synergy fundamentally became part of the success itself. Clarity at scale basically became our ultimate edge. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Achieving Decentralized Abundance. Now, looking back on this entire 42-step challenge, we need to talk about our true end game here. At the end of it all, we realize something that goes way beyond cryptocurrency. With enough time, relentless dedication, extreme patience, and a genuine commitment to consistently making better decisions, almost anything becomes possible. Not just in a digital ledger, but in life itself. And that leads us straight to the core philosophical mission of Liberatum AI Vault, or LAV. We call it decentralized abundance. For us, the point of this whole challenge was never just to hoard wealth. The objective was always to transform wealth into opportunity. We firmly believe that abundance should never just sit locked inside a cold wallet somewhere. Value that is created through intelligent, disciplined investing really only reaches its full true purpose when it begins to circulate, supporting people, empowering real communities, and funding projects that just desperately need an opportunity to grow.
So, what does this all mean for you? Markets are inevitably going to change. New technologies and narratives will rise, and they will fall. But the timeless advantages of the LAV Vault system, the patience, the rigorous discipline, the objective knowledge, and the consistency, those are only just beginning to make their mark. When you manage to cultivate these incredible assets within yourself, what are you going to do with the results? Will you just lock your abundance away, or will you let it circulate to its full purpose? Thank you so much for walking through our digital ledger with us today. This isn't the end of our explainer. It's simply the beginning of our mission.